The bullseye one, that's why we're here. Every time I'll come back to that story. That's why we do it.
With the Woody and Bullseye costume, that was a kid in Colorado that was progressively getting sicker, and we had to get the costume to them before Halloween.
When Jackson's mother signed up for a request, one of the things she said was that Jackson was on hospice, and this was going to be his last Halloween.
And the whole town got together and celebrated Halloween early so he could celebrate. And they came together and did a parade, dressed up, threw candy, and did a trick-or-treat there on Main Street. So this boy could celebrate and have a Halloween of his own.
Walkin Rollin costume started when my son Reese was born with cancer, and he was permanently in a wheelchair.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair, and we couldn't find a costume that fit around me in my wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time, so I knew I had to build one. Reese was very adamant that he had to be in the wheelchair the whole time I'm working on it, so I have to build it around him sitting in the chair. He made sure that everything was exactly where he wanted it to be.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
Reese, who are you?
Wall-E.
When we were all finished, he loved it. He was able to move the hands of Wall-E, and we took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know. And they all wanted us to build costumes for their kids. Well, we knew that that wasn't something that we could feasibly do, so we just kind of, put it in the back of our mind. And the next year, Reese had a different costume and a different costume. And each time we would share it on social media and the same thing would happen.
People were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid, through social media when it was posted online. Families are already dealing with enough medical bills with the wheelchairs that they can't always afford a costume like that.
When Reese turned about 10 years old, he decided that he wanted to make these for other kids too.
And in 2015, we started building these costumes for kids across the nation.
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walkin Rollin Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families. I'm Davis. I am the founder and creative designer for Walkin Rollin Costumes. Co-founder.
No, not making this a sob story.
When we first started doing Walkin Rollin Costumes, we didn't really know how we were going to do it. We had always built them just for Reese's wheelchair. And now we are suddenly open to any type of kid's wheelchair that is out there.
We didn't have the volunteers to build these costumes for all the kids that we were getting requests from. So we ended up getting a wait list because we didn't have the capacity. It takes time to build these costumes. You can't just build them in an afternoon.
We were kind of in over our head that first year. We were building with materials that we thought would work great and just trying to use donations through Kickstarter.
So finding volunteers and then getting the funding to build these costumes were the biggest struggles that we had at the beginning.
We started on Kickstarter and we said we wanted to raise $1,000 and we would build 4 costumes. And Kickstarter, you have 30 days to raise the money. And we raised it in 2 days. And so we decided, okay, how about every $250 over that, we'll build another costume. Well, we ended up raising over $3,000. The kids always chose what they want to be. It's very eye-opening to see what kids came up with. We had pictures of like Cinderella's carriage and other costumes we had just sketched out because we hadn't made that many. And she looked at the sketches and she goes, I really like the Cinderella carriage, but I also really love peacocks. And so we said, well, what if we just combine them and make you a peacock princess? She's like, yeah, let's do that. So she was so excited. And we made up a peacock princess costume. The first 9 were all built out of my garage. My family was building them, and then we'd have friends come over and help us paint, help us assemble.
I've known the Davises since 2010, and when Lon and Reese wanted to get this really going and started, I jumped right in and said, when can I start? What do I need to do? What are we doing?
I started with Walkin Rollin as a cosplayer. This was back probably in 2015 or 16, so right when Walkin Rollin first launched.
My daughter and I got started in 2019. We saw a random Facebook post about looking for volunteers. Seemed like a great way to kill a weekend. We haven't looked back since. It's been a blast.
I got involved with Walkin Rollin about 3 years ago. I was invited to a workshop kind of similar to what we're doing today, and it was when we built the fighter jets. The fighter jet was my very first costume.
So my favorite costume that I've helped build hands down is the fighter jet. We struggled with the engineering of the frame when we were at the workshop, so 2 of us ended up taking it home and finishing it over 100 combined hours on that costume. But that's the one I'm most proud of.
Favorite costumes, I've worked on a lot. I think directly involved in the Bullseye Woody costume, just due to the story and everything involved with that. And then being a part of the basketball costumes that we went to Houston to deliver was really cool too.
Favorite costumes, wow. 2 years ago, we got the company to sponsor the first one as a corporate sponsorship. And we built the Winnebago from Spaceballs, and I think that one's up there. It's got to be one of my favorites. The train that we did last year is another one. We put smoke in it, lights and sounds and stuff like that. Every one of them we've been involved with, it's been fun.
How are you related to everything that's going on?
My blood. I am Callan Davis, son of Lon Davis and brother of Reese Davis. My favorite costume that I worked on was either the Razor Crest or the Pizza Planet. Being involved with Walkin Rollin has been really fun, and I've become more creative and better with problem solving.
Every single event that we've done is probably considered my favorite memory. Each one's better, each one's more exciting, more exhilarating.
So I mean, every one is memorable because something happens, something goes wrong, something exciting happens in the process.
Over the past 10 years, we have built over 200 costumes. And each one, we learn a little bit more about how to make them better and more safe for the kids.
Of course, always when we're building the costumes, we want them to be accessible. So they need to be able to fit through doors, and they need to be able to break down and fit into the parents' vehicles.
Some of the lessons that we've learned in the past 10 years would be using materials like PVC pipe or foam in ways that they might not have been originally intended.
In the beginning, we had to just Frankenstein a lot of costumes, and now we're able to 3D print whatever we need.
But one of the most challenging cases we had was where the family was taking their costumes to Disney World. And in order to take them to Disney World, they had to fit the costume itself and the chair. Everything had to fit into this certain size little box in order for them to allow the costumes into the park. The kids had chosen the longest costumes, so trying to shrink those into that square space that we were allowed was very, very challenging.
Back in 2019, I was taking my son, Cohen, who's in a wheelchair, to Disney, and we wanted to do a costume for him. So we made it a BB-8 chairs. We rolled around Disney for a week, ended up sharing it on social media, and someone found that post that I had made and shared it on their social media saying, hey, our son's going on a Disney cruise. I want to build a costume like this for him. Who's able to help? And a guy named Brian Herring ended up knowing who Walkin Rollin was and said, hey, go see Walkin Rollin. That's what they do.
And now we build 30 costumes a year with volunteers, different teams, different businesses working on them. We have schools building them, middle school, high school, and colleges, as well as different chapters around the nation.
As we are trying to expand the network of builders all over the country so we can pair builders and volunteers with the costume requests that we have, I went ahead and decided to go ahead and start a chapter where I'm from in East Tennessee. We've called it the Blue Ridge region, so we serve more than just East Tennessee, but that whole Blue Ridge area of the U.S.
We have teams now across the country, whether it's in Tennessee or Pennsylvania or in Kansas. We now have teams all over the nation allowing us to build more costumes closer to those kids and not have to ship them across the country.
Every new chapter that we open allows us to expand our audience into a new city, new area, and offer our services to a new set of kids, as well as new volunteers and new people that might want to be a part of the Walkin Rollin costumes community. And then on top of that, it's just raising funds in order to cover the cost of all of this. Not only building the costumes with the materials, but also shipping the costumes, which a lot of times is even more expensive than the costume itself. And then on top of that, we host our annual reveal party called Squeals on Wheels. And that is right before Halloween. All of the local kids in Kansas City get to have their costume revealed to them live on stage in front of a huge audience.
Really being a part of the group is a special element for being a part of Walkin Rollin, because every costume is special, every kid is amazing, and there's nothing like giving a costume to a kid to be able to pick that one memory of what's so special.
I don't have a particular favorite, but every single event, I get to see the smile on a kid's face, and it just warms my heart and it makes me happy.
Honestly, the first costume we worked on, when we went to our first reveal, and watching that little girl light up when they brought it out and uncovered it, it was just, that was it. That had me, I was hooked. There was the ability to give back and to see them get involved with it, and put in the hours and put in the time, and for no other reward than just doing something for somebody else that make their day a little brighter. That's knowing they've got that spirit in them. That's, just means a lot. Every one of them we've been involved with, it's been fun. Just seeing the kids' smiles at the end of it when they get delivered, and that's the best part for me. It just, makes it all worthwhile. Doesn't matter how late you stayed the night before. That smile is worth it.
10 years is a long time to be building costumes like this. I mean, we've built 200 costumes as a company. All the hard work that you put into it, the hours, the sweat and tears, it all goes away because the look on that kid's face when he sees the costume and the experience that he or she are going to have makes it all worthwhile. So if you'd like to help further our mission by volunteering, donating, or becoming a corporate sponsor, you can find all that information on our website at walkinrollin.org. From me, my family, and everyone at Walkin Rollin Costumes, thank you to all the volunteers for the past decade. We look forward to another 10 years building costumes together.